Have you ever had one of those mornings where the alarm clock goes off and you go over and you hit it and you know you have to get up because you have a busy day that day, but you just are exhausted? It's summer, it's hot, you just want to lay in bed. And you think, oh, I can get up and grab that cup of coffee, that'll help motivate me. But you realize, do you really want a hot cup of coffee that morning? Probably not. Or maybe you're one of the ones who likes to study out on the front porch and enjoy the beautiful scenery that God has given us. And as you're sitting there, it gets hot and you're tired and you don't want to study anymore, and you realize you want that cup of coffee, that extra energy. But really, you don't want a hot cup of coffee. Well, I am a coffee connoisseur. I love coffee and I believe in coffee when you study. I worked at a coffee shop for 3 years and developed the habit of drinking coffee, but as I transitioned out of that job and into being a college student again, I realized it's expensive. We can't afford to go buy coffee whenever we would like to, so we have to invent and create our own ways of satisfying that desire. Today I want to just give you 3 quick steps on how you can brew a nice iced cup of coffee that tastes delicious and doesn't taste watered down, but also saves your pocketbook several dollars per cup of coffee that you make. The first one, it's easy. You just got to brew it correctly. The second step is you got to prepare the ingredients correctly. And the third step is you mix it together and sit down and enjoy a cup of coffee. So to begin with, brewing it correctly. Oftentimes, a hot cup of coffee mixed with ice becomes very watered down. So the important key is to start out with a strong cup of coffee. I have learned that using a Campers coffee pot is the best way to brew an espresso type coffee. It helps to brew strong coffee flavors and will not get melted and watered down with ice when you mix it together for that nice cup of espresso. Campers coffee pot comes apart in 3 steps. You have the bottom, the middle, and the top. The bottom is where you'll go ahead and you'll fill your water. So if you're watching this and wanting to do it, fill it up to about this little nozzle here with water. And then you go ahead and you place the middle part inside of it. This is where you'll place your coffee grounds. You fill it up to about the top. And once it gets hot, it'll force the water through the straw up through the coffee grounds. And the coffee grounds will rise into this top part. For those of you who want to see, that's what the top part looks like. Mine is well used. And so when it rises to the top and stops boiling, that's when you know your coffee's ready. But so for step 1 is preparing that and putting it on your oven at high and just place it right on top of the eye. And then the second step is to prepare your ingredients. I typically start out with a 16-ounce travel mug because you never know where you're going to want to take your coffee, whether to class or to study in the park. So I start out with a 16-ounce cup. You fill it up with ice. Now the ice will melt some, so you want to make sure to have a lot of ice in it. You fill it up to the top. Then the second part is you go ahead and you put creamer or flavoring in, whichever you prefer. I typically put about that much creamer in, and then when you pour the coffee, it'll fill up the cup the rest of the way. So the third step is, once your cup is prepared, the third part will be to mix it. By this time, your coffee will be ready and you'll be hearing it done boiling. So you go ahead and you grab it with a nice hot pad or a towel, so that way you don't burn yourself, and you go ahead and you pour it the rest of the way into your coffee cup. I encourage you to leave a little space just in case it's too strong or not strong enough. Mix it together, taste it, see if it needs more ice, more creamer, or more coffee. And at that point, you're done. You have your nice cup of coffee and you get a chance to go sit down and to study or do whatever needs to be done. In conclusion, I want to summarize the 3 points that I mentioned first. It's to first just brew the correct cup of coffee, brew it strong with a Campers pot. The second one is to mix your ingredients well, know what you need and how much you need of it. And the third one is to sit down, mix it up, and take a sip of it and do your homework or whatever it is. This is important as us college students need caffeine to live through our days, but yet we need to save the money. So go ahead, do it. If I was in class with you, I would love to brew a cup of coffee and to share it with you guys. Unfortunately, that won't happen, so have fun experimenting.